Alcohol is glorified in our society. Glorified. Yet it's literal poison for our body. So we should be questioning that, right? That's what I did years ago, and I'm going to share that story and why I do not drink very often. I'm Juli Bauer Roth, the food, fitness, and lifestyle blogger behind PaleoMG. Welcome to my guest bedroom and my channel. I'm here to share my favorite food, workout, and wellness tips to help you live your best damn life. And you know how you could live your best damn life? By drinking less. It is really good to drink less. And not just like one drink every single night. You know, you're just coming home from work, having a drink. No, even less than that. The least amount as possible. What really sparked me wanting to talk about this on YouTube is, first of all, I saw people on TikTok are starting to talk about being sober and not drinking. And this is the younger generation, which is crazy to me because I drank a good amount when I was younger. It wasn't until my mid-20s that I said, no more, I don't need to do this anymore. But these younger kids are saying, I'm going to be sober or I'm not going to drink much, and are really paying attention to their health. But also, I listened to a podcast by D Huberman recently, and it was all about alcohol. And it was such a aha moment of why I do not drink very often. I like a fun cocktail once in a while, but why I stay away from alcohol. So I wanted to share a little trip down memory lane of my own experience, and then some of the details in this podcast episode that I learned that really made all of this make sense of why I felt the way I felt when I drank when other people didn't. Don't worry, I'll share that podcast episode in the show notes below so you know exactly what I'm talking about and you can listen to that yourself. So for me, alcohol was never a part of my childhood. I never saw my parents drink. Maybe they would drink a little bit of scotch at Christmas at a friend's party, but never saw alcohol in the house. No wine, no liquor, no beer. It was just never in our house. Not that I ever noticed anything. So I could never sneak alcohol from them when I was a teenager. And so it was just not part of our lives. It wasn't an important piece of celebration. It wasn't anything. It was just alcohol, and I didn't think about it. Well, of course, then I became a teenager, and then you get curious, and we would steal alcohol from my friend's parents, closet, and then restock it with water, the normal behavior of teenagers. And I remember getting drunk the first time when I was like 16, and I could not believe that people drank this shit. I still can't fathom it. Alcohol tastes so bad. For me, an alcoholic beverage needs to not taste like an alcoholic beverage, God, once we were going to a cocktail making class in Hawaii. We're like, oh, that'll be fun. It was 10 a.m. We had a tequila tasting at 10 a.m. It was the most disgusting thing. I hated every second of it. And then I have to pretend like I like this. I'm like, this is some bullshit. Tequila tasting at 10 a.m. on vacation, my worst enemy. Once I got to college, I started drinking a lot more, and the behavior just became what I think of as kind of normal college behavior based on all of my other friends who drank even more than I did. But I don't know if there's any normal drinking behavior now looking back at it. But I drank 2 to 3 times a week. I would go out, party my face off, black out. I always blacked out. And this isn't passing out, blacking out, meaning losing memory from the night, which is so scary, especially now that I know what I know from this podcast. But it was just really bad behavior. And as I got older, with each year, my health became more of a priority. I started CrossFit. I wanted to compete in CrossFit. And so alcohol just didn't fit into that narrative very often, because when I would drink, I wouldn't be able to work out the next morning. I would have an excess of calories, and I would be incredibly sluggish. So I was competing in CrossFit, but I was also working at a bunch of gyms. And when you work at gyms, you work early in the morning at 5 or 6. And so alcohol did not fit into that schedule whatsoever. So I really stopped drinking. So then when I would drink, say a Halloween party came up or a Christmas party, well, I would always black out, not remember anything, feel like shit the next day, and not be able to do anything I wanted to do. And as I started looking around when I would drink, all these people I had so much fun with, well, they weren't the friends who were going to be there for me in times of need. They were just these drinking friends. So I was not improving my life and my relationships in any capacity by going out with these people. They were just filling a void. So I would drink to fill a void. That's what it felt like at the end of the day. It wasn't to fill my cup. It wasn't to build up relationships and find this deep connection with people. It was to fill a void and to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, like social situations or on a date. And at the end of the day, I didn't want to have to drink alcohol to make myself feel more comfortable around other people. I just wasn't going to be around those people. I was going to be around people that I enjoyed. So I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not drinking just to make other people feel comfortable. I'm not going to parties that are going to push alcohol on me. And I just completely took a step back, and I still do that now. I have one cocktail, sometimes like every 6 months, maybe every 3 months. And I make sure it's worth the calories because they're empty calories, and we'll get into that. But I make sure it is absolutely worth the calories, and it is a fun drink. It's kind of like coffee. I don't want my coffee to taste like black coffee. That is disgusting. I don't want my alcohol to taste like alcohol either. So I want to have a really fun cocktail that's going to be super high in sugar and high in calories, but that's okay. I'm not drinking it very often. It's very seldom. Now let's jump into why alcohol sucks. Okay. And this is not to vilify it, because that sucks. Like, hearing that sucks, because what if you do enjoy alcohol? I think it's just important to know what alcohol does to our bodies. Just like it's important to know if you're doing LSD or magic mushrooms. I'm putting it in that same category. Yet those things can actually expand your mind, while alcohol is doing the opposite. So alcohol is fat and water soluble. And what that means is it can cross the blood-brain barrier. So unlike other things that you ingest, they can't, because they're not water and fat soluble. So this can go past the blood-brain barrier, and it is toxic to cells. So that means it's doing substantial damage to your cells. So not only is it causing damage to cells in your body, but it's causing damage to your brain at the same time. So this is what I found out in the podcast, and it was really scary. Drinking alcohol on a regular basis. Now this can mean 1 to 2 drinks a night, or say you're drinking, 7+ drinks over the weekend. When you're drinking that amount, you are causing neurodegeneration, okay? You're getting thinning of your neocortex. And think about that. That's 1 to 2 drinks per day. And that can be coming home, having a beer, coming home, having a little whiskey, whatever it is, having 1 to 2 drinks, or you're just drinking heavily on the weekend, you're just going out Friday and Saturday, that is going to lead to thinning of your neocortex, neurodegeneration. What? Now, what I found out was really cool. And you have to listen to this podcast, because I'm just giving you the tiny little cliff notes that I understand, just palatable ones. But when you take 6 months off of no drinking whatsoever, you can repair that damage that you have done, which is pretty freaking cool. So not only is alcohol terrible for the brain, you're getting degeneration of the brain when you drink on a regular basis, even if that regular basis is just 1 drink per night. Then you're doing damage to your cells. Your whole body is made up of cells. This is why we see someone who has drank a ton and is an alcoholic. We can see the change in their skin, their complexion. We can see just how they look on the outside. That is their cells being damaged. But then it's also empty calories. So when I say empty calories, it has no vitamins, it has no minerals, it has no fatty acids, no amino acids, nothing to give any sort of caloric value to these calories. So they are empty calories. So when you're drinking, they're just crap. It's just crap. And it's a high caloric intake. When you're going out to have your vodka sodas or your pina coladas or your whiskey cokes or your rum and cokes or whatever it is highly caloric. So if you are trying to lose weight, if you are trying to get in shape, if you are trying to just simply be healthier, not even lose weight or get in shape, you just want to live a healthier lifestyle, drinking on a regular basis is going to add extreme empty calories to your diet. So it's bad for the body, it's bad for the brain, and it's bad for nutrition. So this quote by Andrew Huberman really stuck with me. Being drunk is a poison-induced disruption in the way that the neural circuits work. So what happens is people who drink on a regular basis become much more impulsive. This is because the neural circuits have been changed in your brain. And again, this can be fixed within 2 to 6 months of no drinking at all, unless you're an alcoholic. And then there's different things that go along with that. But if you're just a normal citizen in our world who drinks regularly in some capacity, you can change this with 2 to 6 months. But impulsivity changes, and not just when you're drinking, but afterwards, because the neural circuits in your brain have been changed. So not only do you make poor decisions while you're drinking, but then you do at the same time when you are sober. What the hell? So those mistakes that you made when you were drunk, well, those could play out in a different way when you are sober the rest of the week. Now, I found this very interesting. So some people, when they drink, they feel an upper effect. They feel that excitement, that hyperness, that positivity, while others, like me, feel down regulation, they feel depression, they feel sleepy. Well, Andrew Huberman talks about how people who feel upregulated, feel happy, feel energized by drinking, they may be predisposed to alcoholism, or they're drinking so much on a regular basis that they feel that. So that's something that's so important to think about. If you are a person who feels energized by alcohol, it's very important to think about your history, your family history with alcohol, or think about how much you're drinking on a regular basis, because you're being energized by it. And while you're being energized by it, it's actually changing neural circuits in your brain at the same time, but you feel great. So why would you not drink? Why would you not go out with your friends? Well, there's things in the body that are happening that you don't even know about. While other people who feel exhausted, who feel sleepy, who feel lethargic when they drink, they don't have that same predisposition that other people who feel energized by alcohol do. So they have less of a chance of becoming an alcoholic. Doesn't mean that can't happen, but it's something to really think about. If you feel energized and hyper from alcohol, pay attention to that. That's the body speaking to you and saying something that you really need to pay attention to. And it may feel like, how am I supposed to get through this conference? How am I supposed to get through this meeting? How am I supposed to get through this date without drinking? Well, how about we work on those things? What I like about people talking about being sober on TikTok is you are taking control of your own life when you choose that. You're not letting a substance take over for you. You are saying, I'm going to put myself in this position and I'm going to put myself out there wholeheartedly, who I truly am, and I'm going to connect with this person. I think that is so empowering to be able to figure out who you are without any sort of substance and put that person out in front of everybody else and see who takes a bite. That sounds weird, but who is going to love you full and wholeheartedly for who you are, not the person who you are when you're drinking. And I think a lot of people have a hard time with that because maybe they're more fun when they drink, they're more open, they don't have this wall up. Well, you can become that person too. You don't need alcohol to do that. And of course, it's easier said than done, and it's going to take work. And that's why people don't want to do it, because it's more work to become socially comfortable around other people that you don't know and become this vivacious person if you don't feel like that. Well, you can learn to do that. Also, should I say vivacious on a regular basis? I kind of love that word. So not only are you going to open up your life by building better confidence, working on yourself without the help of alcohol, but you're going to save a ton on empty calories, which you don't need. You're going to save a ton of money because you're not spending $14 per drink going out. Like here in Denver, the cocktail that I get, I'm pretty sure is $16. That is a very special event. Just like having a really fun treat is a really special event. Well, you're going to save a ton of money. $16 when you're buying multiple drinks. Your dinners are going to be so much cheaper. Your nights out are going to be so much cheaper. So you're saving on calories, you're saving on money, you're working on your confidence at the same time. But then you can walk into a situation and be comfortable anywhere you go. That's what's so cool about working on confidence without alcohol. You can walk into a party and stay sober, be quite comfortable with that. And when the room gets a little bit uncomfortable because everybody's wasted and you're not, you can say, okay, I'm out. That was great. I met some people. I had some good conversations while the night was still young, and now I can step away with that. Now, I don't want to vilify alcohol. There is a time and place for everything, for sugar, for alcohol, for exercise, for laziness, for whatever. There's a time for everything, and there's a balance in life. But I do think it's very strange that our communities, our society glorifies alcohol. We have commercials on it all the time, yet vilifies different substances like marijuana or LSD or mushrooms, like I've said before. Why is it one thing is better than the other, especially when alcohol is doing neural damage to the brain, while these substances like magic mushrooms have been shown to create new circuits in the brain? I think we should be talking about that. I think we should be looking at that and questioning that. And if you question people doing different types of hallucinogenic drugs, but you're drinking on a regular basis, I think it's important to think about that, because I used to think drugs were terrible. I couldn't believe that people smoked weed. But then I was drinking 3 times a week in college. I was like, no way would I smoke weed, but I'm going to go out and drink till I black out 3 times. Something's missing here, and that should be talked about, and we should have different voices. And that's what's so cool about people talking on TikTok about being sober, is it's getting the voice out there to the younger generation who has this squishy little brain to continue to grow and to improve and not take a step back with alcohol. And maybe I'm just biased because I think alcohol tastes like crap. It's disgusting. But I do think we should all think about our alcohol consumption and what it's doing to our body, and why we're using it as a crutch if we are, why we're using it as a celebration when we could be celebrating in different ways. I just think it's important to think about these things and not glorify or vilify anything, but it's just something that we talk about and talk openly about and question, just like anything in society. We have both sides to everything. And I can wholeheartedly say that my life is so fulfilled without having alcohol in it. I could truly go again with never having an alcoholic beverage and be completely happy, because I've built this relationship with myself, relationship with the community around me, that alcohol doesn't need to be part of my life. And I'm okay with that. I can go 6 months and not even think about alcohol. And then I'm like, oh, a margarita would be fun. But if I never had it again, that's okay. And I think that really came from me finding my true happiness with myself and true comfort with myself in social situations and different experiences, that I'm okay with that. So I just wanted to share that, because if you feel like the odd man out because you don't really drink, that's okay. If you want to drink, that's okay too. Just be aware of what happens to your body. And nobody talks about that when they're showing a commercial for tequila. They're not talking about your brain having neurodegeneration when you drink on a regular basis. We got to start talking about that. I'm going to link this podcast in the show notes below. You have to listen to it. It is so fascinating and so helpful to help you make the best decisions for you in your own life and your own family's life and your own friend's life. You want to be a good person who continues to improve in life. Alcohol might be and might not be part of that. It's up to you. Now you got to share your own stories. Are you a person who drinks on a regular basis? Do you question your alcohol intake? Maybe you don't want to share that in the comments below, but I'd love to hear from you. Did you ever have to cut alcohol out for a specific reason? Share your stories below. I'd love to hear from you. But remember, just do everything responsibly as an adult. We're all adults here. We can make smart decisions. But the more you know, the better off you're going to be. Now, I have some work to do, so I don't have time for a drink. I'm going to go finish up more work. Can't wait to hear your stories below. Be sure to comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see more videos like this. And I have a few more videos I think you're going to like, so stay tuned.